stage.
Hello there guys, it's Parafon here and welcome to a kind of a different video. So today I wanted to talk to you about my F1 2016 career mode ideas. In this video I'll only talk about career mode. I'll leave the rest to other people basically, because at least that I've seen XMAG and Lim has already been talking about the game in general, about their ideas and what they want. I want to talk about the career mode specifically because I feel like a lot of people work on the career mode field, so it won't hurt anyone to try and be a bit more specific. So the first thing I think it should be on F1 2016 should be the young drivers stat. So they tried it on F1 2012, on 13. I think it was brilliant. I mean, there could be some small changes, but the idea, I think it was brilliant. They removed it for F1 2014 and F1 2015. I don't know why. I think it's a good way to kind of immerse the player in the career mode, because you need to test yourself to try and get in a place, and the F1 2012 idea of unlocking teams by the challenges you could get the gold medals and all that stuff. I think we should go back to it on F1 2016. Obviously talking that we can create our own driving like F1 2015. So we would go back to the own career mode, like you could create your own player, and from the young driver test then to the menu. I think we should go back to the F1 2010-2011 style, where the scenario would be a paddock and you would have your own lounge, and maybe you could move around the paddock between like the place you're staying and your pit box, and maybe go around the whole paddock from one team's end to the end of the pit lane. I think it could be pretty cool, because it would just make you, besides making it a bit more realistic, I mean, I think it could be quite fun just to see the other teams working on the other cars, and maybe even watching your own pit crew working on your car, and maybe just go around and maybe even talk to people and talk to the other drivers, bring back those interviews maybe with a bit more of detail and a bit more variety on the questions and the commentaries on the game. I mean, I'm talking about the career mode itself, because after all the objective of career mode is to put you on the place of an actual driver that would be there. So the more realistic the better. So obviously I think this is the kind of ideas to make it more realistic, to make you feel like you were actually there. So maybe you could not move around the whole paddock, maybe just be able to interact with other drivers and have some different options to, just for example you're in a certain team and you want to go see or talk to maybe McLaren's team principal or one of their drivers. You just could select on a menu on the paddock, just go there and actually talk to them and have a conversation about, I don't know, I mean, even imagine if they wanted to congratulate you for a race, or just give you a proposal of work there, and maybe even bring back that idea of F1 05 and F1 06, where you could actually be the test driver. Instead of being the second driver or the first driver, you could be the test driver for a couple of weeks, do some work for them. I think it could be quite awesome. I mean, I know that most of them want just to drive a car and do the whole season, but for those who are looking for like a proper real career mode, I think bringing the text driver thing would make it a bit more real, especially when going to higher teams and you could like sign for Ferrari or McLaren, but you would be part of their young drivers test and then be sent to one of their supplier teams like Manor or I don't know. I don't want to say McLaren because they're really low, but I mean, you know, that sort of idea. Just you would be one of their development process drivers and would be sent to a lower team just to gain experience and to drive. I think that could be pretty awesome. Also, maybe a little interruption, but maybe the helmets question probably not as important to some people. Personally, I do love the helmet question because I really love to keep changing helmets for a special track or because it's a special occasion for me. So I do like to have quite a lot of options for my helmets. And unfortunately, F1 games have not been great to kind of give us the best helmets. First, because they keep a lot of the same ones from game to game. Probably just more than 3/4 of their helmets they just keep them, which is, I would say, understandable because there is people that like them. So I mean, it makes sense that they keep them. But for example, for someone who is on the PC, they will always change for one of the modern helmets, and maybe to kind of avoid that. And I know here that the branding is a very complicated thing. To put brands on the helmet and all that sort of stuff, but maybe, just maybe, try and maybe even try and work with some of them who make the helmet mods, like for example Supla 007, which is one of the names I can remember right now, that works a lot on the helmets for the PC versions of F1 2013 and F1 2014, to try and bring a bit more sophisticated helmets, you know, more interesting designs to the helmets that we have. But I mean, it's not as an important question as the remaining stuff. I just feel like maybe there should be like a change on the helmets, just to, I mean, because a helmet is a very personal thing. So maybe if you could like give us a base and then give us a helmet creator menu or something where you give us some standard like stripes or flags or something with we could customize a helmet on. That could also be an idea. I mean, small ideas just to make the helmets a bit more personal instead of just some standard kind of no fun helmets that we have. I think it could be a good improvement on the game, on the career mode itself. But yeah, going back to the career mode process. So you would be on. Let's imagine you're finishing the season on, for example, Toro Rosso or something, and you would sign in for a different team like Sauber or Force India. What I think it could be cool also to make would be like you'd sign in with the team, and maybe before the season starts, we would actually be on the February testing at Jerez or Catalonia. Just test the car, and just because the car technically should feel different from one to another, so it could be interesting. It didn't need it to be a very long testing, you know, just like a practice session where you actually switch places with the test driver from that team, or the first driver, your teammate or something. You didn't need to do the whole testing or the whole session of testing on that day, just to kind of make you go around your new car and just really give a bit more of that F1 environment throughout the whole season from testing until the end of the season, and add those middle testing practices they do like on Silverstone mid-season to make either to test the new tires or the new regulation for another year. It doesn't really matter. It would be like an R&D practice testing from time to time during the season, which I think it could be pretty cool for those who actually love the career mode thing. Obviously, that maybe some of you won't like this much because it seems a lot of stuff to put on and to do, and some of you are just worried on driving, and that's also maybe split the career mode in those two parts, one a lot more simpler and the other one about a bit more complex, more complete in terms of the F1 environment and the F1 reality for those who really want to have the full experience for the career mode. So I think that could be pretty cool as well. And now going a bit more to the game, the way the game would be played, but still, I mean, it involves both career mode and multiplayer and all the rest. But just a couple of ideas. Obviously, bring the safety car back. And I think that's quite an important part of the F1 games because, I mean, the safety car exists for some reason. So, yeah, I mean, bring the safety car back is quite an important thing. Something that I find really important, I mean, I know this is not a sim game, it's more of an arcade game, but maybe there should be the possibility of driving, you driving through the pit lane and pitting and stopping the car. You do all this instead of just being the game controlling the whole car through the pit lane and then stopping for your engineers to bring you back to the box. I mean, maybe you could make that yourself and also add the possibility of just making a pit stop for changing tires during the practice sessions and the qualifying sessions if there's no need of refueling. I think that's quite an important part, especially for, well, this case would be for league racing because it's easier to just pit for new tires and go again for qualifying. But even in the career mode, I mean, going back to the box and just leave again, it starts being a bit, you know, tiring. Just go inside and out just to change the tires. So maybe that could be a possibility of just pitting, change the tires and go out again instead of going back to the box and leave again. But yeah, that's basically those are my main ideas. Just create a much more realistic F1 environment on a career mode. Add the paddock ideas. I mean, you could move around or at least interact with other drivers. Bring on the interviews, the new interviews with someone. Kind of make a more I don't know, just increase the variety of lines that the commentator has during the race as well, and the engineer. Make the engineer a bit more useful. I mean, not as sarcastic, let's say, which is not sarcastic, but it does sound quite ironic sometimes because it's so obvious reasons that sometimes it kind of doesn't make really sense. But make the engineer interact a bit more, like interact more properly with maybe more variety of information. I don't know, but yeah, just make the environment as well be more realistic and maybe make you a bit more free on the paddock. Just increase the things you can do behind the paddock and just not go straight to a garage where you're already inside the car and all you have to do is drive. Maybe there's people who prefer that way, and I have nothing against them, but for those like me that actually want a pretty damn cool experience as an F1 driver, I think that will help a lot. If you could be like on your own lounge, like the MotoGP, with your laptop and your TV to watch stuff, I think that could help quite a lot, creating that realistic environment, and also moving around on the paddock. And just before I end, and before you start commenting how that this is not important, obviously I'm talking about ideas. When the basics of the game are already taken care of. Obviously I want as well for a game where the basics are like perfected and functioning, and there's no like very bad glitches and bugs and ridiculous amount of lags on the multiplayer. I want a proper game, the basics, but this is just ideas for a career mode which could be implemented at some point, and I think it could be pretty cool to just see the evolution of your driver through a career mode, a bit more realistic, with a lot of more possibilities happening. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. I've talked for a long time now, and I apologize for that, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment down below what other ideas you have for career mode, if I'm doing too many ideas for a game maybe, or if you think there's more things to be added. Just comment down below, and until the next time, bye bye.